Greece has won approval from most of the bondholders who it's asking to exchange its debt for new bonds. But there's still some holdouts, and Greece is likely to have to force those to take part. Let's go to Charles Forelle in London now to find out where things stand with the debt exchange and what happens from here. Charles, good morning.
Good morning. So basically what happened was the vast bulk, about 80-something% of Greece's creditors agreed to this swap. They're turning in their bonds, and they're getting back bonds with a face value of less than half of what they had. Greece has also said it's going to use legal measures called collective action clauses to basically take the vast majority of those who remain and force them to take the exchange, whether they like it or not. That's going to leave a few billion in holdouts, and there are likely to be some court battles coming up. But by and large, 96, 97% of Greek bonds will be swapped forcibly or otherwise, which for Greece is a good outcome.
And Charles, who are those? As I was reading your story this morning, who are those 3 to 4% that are still going to be the holdouts? What kind of creditors are those that are the ones that are saying?
Jeanette wants to know what their names are.
Who are their names?
So these are generally hedge funds and other investors who specialize in these sorts of restructuring and default scenarios that are trying to see if there's a way through the courts to make a buck. You could have snapped up these bonds for 25 or 20 cents on the dollar. The bonds that are being held out are bonds issued under laws other than Greece's laws. Greece issued the majority of its bonds under its own laws, which made it very easy for them to simply change the laws to make it easier to force people, which is exactly what they did last month. The small minority of bonds they issued under English law, for instance, creditors have held on to those and are going to try to fight in English court.
Charles, in most ways, I guess the reaction to this is that the exchange has gone fairly smoothly. I guess on the one hand, though, is the problem that even the new bonds are trading at pretty low prices on the euro. And the other thing is the worry maybe that other countries are going to say, wow, look how well that went. Why don't we do the same thing?
Sure. Look, the issue with Greece is, as it has been for a long time, that the thing that people are worried about is some giant disaster, casting the country into a deeper spiral than it already is in, if that can be imagined, and potentially infecting the rest of the Eurozone. The smoothness of the debt exchange, it went relatively smoothly, you can say it went quite smoothly, means that the debt exchange itself was not a trigger for Greek calamity, but that doesn't mean that there are not other potential triggers for Greek calamity going forward. This is an economy that's been in recession for 5 years now. They have elections coming up in several weeks. They are facing enormous difficulties even repaying the remainder, the bonds that were not exchanged, or the debt that it owes to Eurozone rescuers. It was not exchanged. So the skies are not all blue for Greece by any stretch of the imagination.
And tell us a little bit more about that, because this is good news for Greece, but they still, like you said, have debt outstanding to the Troika, to other European countries. How much of a dent is this going to make in terms of Greece's recovery from here?
It makes a big dent in the debt pile. It takes the debt down from 350, 360, 370 billion down by about 100 billion. But this is a country where GDP is around 210, 215 billion and falling. So it's still a country that has more debt than the economy produces in total output in a year. That's not a good place to be, no matter how you slice things. So, there remain question marks over Greece for a long time to come. And for Europe, I think the main priority was making sure that Greece's problems didn't infect the rest of Europe, and the fact that this debt exchange has gone smoothly is a victory in that column, at least.
All right. Well, Charles, Europe will have to take the victories it can get.